Hey, hey, excuse me. Here we are back with Kate DiCamillo's The Tale of Despereaux. We find ourselves now on chapter 3. You can find that on page 20. I'll give you just a second to find it. This is a really good chapter. This to me is kind of where we start seeing how talented Kate DiCamillo is. She really has a way of using beautiful language to get her point across. And chapter 3, I think, is one of the first little glimpses into that. So chapter 3 is entitled, Once Upon a Time. Despereaux's siblings tried to educate him in the ways of being a mouse. His brother Furlow took him on a tour of the castle to demonstrate the art of scurrying. "Move side to side," instructed Furlow, scrabbling across the waxed castle floor. "Look over your shoulder all the time, first to the right, then to the left. Don't stop for anything." But Despereaux wasn't listening to Furlow. He was staring at the light pouring through the stained-glass window of the castle. He stood on his hind legs and held his handkerchief held his handkerchief over his heart and stared up into that brilliant light. "Furlow," he said, "what is this thing? What are all these colors? Are we in heaven?" "Cripes!" shouted Furlow from the far corner. "Don't just stand there in the middle of the floor talking about heaven. Move! You're a mouse, not a man. You gotta scurry." "What?" said Despereaux, still staring at the light. But Furlow was gone. He had, like a good mouse, disappeared into a hole in the molding. Despereaux's sister Merlot took him to the castle library, where light came streaming through tall, high windows and landed on the floor in bright yellow patches. "Here," said Merlot, "follow me, small brother, and I will instruct you on the fine points on how to nibble paper." Merlot scurried up a chair and from there hopped onto a table, which there sat a huge open book. "This way, small brother," she says as she crawled under the pages of the book, and Despereaux followed her from the chair to the table to the page. "Now then," said Merlot, "this glue here is tasty, and the paper edges are crunchy and yummy like so." And she nibbled the edge of the page and then looked over at Despereaux. "You try," she said. "First, bite some glue, and then follow it with the crunch of the paper. And these little squiggles here, they are very tasty." Despereaux looked down at the book, and something remarkable happened. The marks on the pages, the squiggles, as Merlot had referred to them, arranged themselves into shapes. These shapes arranged themselves into words, and the words spelled out a delicious and wonderful phrase. "Once upon a time." "Once upon a time," whispered Despereaux. "What?" said Merlot. "Nothing." "Eat," said Merlot. Next page. "Oh, I couldn't possibly," said Despereaux, backing away from the book. "Why?" Said Despereaux. "It would ruin the story." "The story? What story?" Merlot stared at him. A piece of paper trembled at the end of one of her indignant whiskers. "It's just like Pa said when you were born. Something is not right with you." She turned and scurried from the library to tell her parents about this latest disappointment. Despereaux waited until she was gone, and then he reached out and with one paw touched those lovely words, "Once upon a time." He shivered. He sneezed. And he blew his nose into his handkerchief. "Once upon a time," he said out loud, relishing the sound. And then tracing each word with his paw, he read the story of a beautiful princess and a brave knight who serves and honors her. Despereaux did not know it, but he would need, very soon, to be brave himself. Have I mentioned that beneath the castle there was a dungeon? In the dungeon there were rats, large rats, mean rats. Despereaux was destined to meet those rats. Reader, you must know that an interesting fate, sometimes involving rats, sometimes not, awaits almost everyone, mouse or man, who does not conform. Think back to the meaning of some of these words where we talked about the word honor, where we talked about the word disappointment, where we talked about the word conform. A strange fate, an interesting fate awaits almost everyone, mouse or man, who does not conform. If you don't follow the rules, if you don't, I don't know, fit in the way that people think you should fit in, an interesting outcome awaits you. And I don't know that that's always such a bad thing. All right, my friends, that was chapter 3. I told you this book was great. Buckle up. We've got more chapters ahead. There are 51 of them in all. Can you believe it? And we're going to tackle all of them. Have a great rest of the day, and we will read together again soon. Bye, you guys.